Hey, welcome back. You know, I just got an Autotrickler V4, but before I start using it, I want to see what difference it's going to make in my loading times. You know, one of the biggest things that I don't have is time. Now, I understand right off the top that we are not going to gain any precision whatsoever compared to the V2 that I've been using for years. The scale is the limitation to that. So what I have here is 20 cases that need to be loaded, and we're going to go to 51.7 grains of H4350. This particular bucket of 4350 is pretty slow, and the barrel we're going to shoot them through is pretty slow as well. So we're going to put quite a bit of 4350 in it. This is not a safe load in any of my other barrels. This one barrel that has quite a bit of wear on it can accept this load, and no other ones can. Please do not duplicate my powder charge. You will damage your brass in 99% of barrels out there. So do your workup safely and slowly and make sure you do it right. So we're going to start from my zero position. The scale is calibrated. My pan, my aluminum RCBS pan, is sitting on the scale. I have powder in the trickler and in my little cup that I use to hold my powder. I'm going to use a Lee scoop to put the powder into the pan initially, and then I'm going to let the trickler finish up. So we're going to start from an unprogrammed scale. The scale is not programmed. We are zeroed out with a pan on it. So let's go ahead and set it up. I'm going to put a timer up on the screen here, just from this point, and we're going to count and see how long it takes me to do 10 of these. So I'm going to put 10 of them over here that we are going to actually charge on this pass. Then after I get the V4 set up, I'm going to do the other 10 from this same basic standard position. Unprogrammed, powder sitting there in the hopper ready to go, but nothing else prepared. And just see what the difference is in the amount of time it takes me to load 10 cases. Obviously, if it's faster replicating, we'll note that and figure it out. All right, let's get started. The load is 51.7 grains H4350, so I'm going to scoop some in and see where we are. And I'm going to use my little scoop to get it finished up where I want it. That's too much. Now, I've only been doing this like this for several years, so I should be able to get this right relatively quickly. And if I can't, we'll skip it. We're at 52.2. Hope you can read that on the scale. There's 51.1. 51.56. 51.68. If I go any higher, there is a risk that I will end up with overcharges. So we're going to leave it at 51.68, and I'm going to hit print. We're now programmed for our first charge. I get that one for free because I did put it in the pan. I'm going to accept 51.68 or 51.70. I will not accept 51.72. My standards are a little tighter than that. A little tighter than other people's. We got to let the trickler prime itself. There we go. Now it's starting to trickle. It came up a little short, so I'm just going to take one granule of powder out of my pan here and drop it in. That's what the funnel on the top's for. And I get 51.68. We're ready to charge the second one. $51.68. Did I say I'd only accept a 200ths deviation? Or I might have said 10. So we're at 51.66. So we're going to make it 51.68 with one granule of powder. Well, that's 51.7. The granules are a little more than 200ths in weight. Just make sure I'm not double charging a case here. Yep, we're good. Pour that one in. One of the nice things about doing real world testing is you get to see what actually happens when you do your work. And this video I'll probably review for a week trying to figure out where I went wrong in various areas of this. But see, it came up quite a bit short there. So we're going to need at least 1 granule of powder. We'll just grab a granule of powder out of the open container here and go clink and see what we get. 5168. Here we aren't double charging. There we go. I stopped it because I hit it with the scoop. Now we have a problem. We have a granule sitting on the scale that I dumped when I did that, so I'm pulling that off. Okay, we're at 5164. Drop 1, and we got 68. We're there. Guess I should have made it 70. But it's easier to add than it is to pick stuff out, so 5168. Flickering between 64 and 66, add 1 granule. We should get 68. We got 68. I've loaded so much H4350 that this stuff is absolutely predictable to me. There we go. $51.68. Oh, 51.78. Big overcharge. We're going to scoop some out and let it redo it. $64. $70. I put 2 granules in that time. Okay, we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop the timer, and this is the time for a V2 using a Lee scoop, a simple aluminum pan from RCBS, the scale, and the other components that I'm using, like a funnel to feed the powder into the scale. So we're going to put this aside. I'm going to throw bullets in the tops of these, and I'll come back after the V2 is set up. All right, see you in a minute. All right, guys, this is my very first time trying this, so forgive me if it goes all sideways. But knowing Adam, this is going to go flawlessly. He makes some really good stuff, and this is just another one of those things. So I've got the Autotrickler app. I've put it on my iPad just so that I can see what happens. We're scanning for it. All right, let's start with a calibration. So we'll go calibrate. And the timer's running right now because calibration is part of it. I figured while we're waiting for this thing to calibrate, I might as well give a little color commentary. You see, I didn't know how to operate the app yet, and as a result, I didn't prime the tubes by turning them on while I was trying to figure out when to push the calibrate button. That slowed things down. If you watch, it's about 40 seconds from the time it starts turning the small tube until I actually start getting powder. Had I turned on that tube at full speed prior to that, I would have been primed and ready to go much faster. The calibration would have taken about a minute to maybe a minute and 20 seconds instead of the time that it actually took. So there's a time savings there. While that's going on, let me get the cases over here. There we go. All right, it's done calibrating it through 202.92 grains of powder. And I did not prime any of the tubes, which may have been why it was so long to do that. Pour it all back in the hopper. There we go. All right. Make sure we're zeroed. Make sure we're all the way in. There we go. Okay, scale is zeroed. Now we're going to put in our target weight. 51.68. The same as we did with the other one. Tap to set target. And here we go. Now, I should have left myself a little bit of powder over here so that I could throw a granule in if it came up short. So I'm going to put some aside here. Yeah, no, it's right on the money. 51.70. That's within reason for me, but I'm going to give myself a little bit so I can throw a granule in if I need to. Same methodology I used with the other one. I don't know that I'll need it, but I've got it if I do. There we go. Now, to be really fair, I really shouldn't be adding the calibration time to it because it should already be calibrated when I come out to do some work. Oh, it went over, it went 72. So that doesn't meet my standards, which means I'm going to pick one granule out, check it again. Still says 72, and I picked a granule out of it. 51.70, okay, we're good. $51.66, I'll just grab a granule, throw it in there. $51.68. Guess I don't need to reach in there. Such a habit pattern, right? Reach in and scoop the next one. I feel like I could be doing something else while it's throwing a powder charge. Now I've only got it set at the 51.70. That's a good throw. I feel like I could be doing something else while this is throwing powder. I've got it at the default speed of 5. I did not adjust the speed. Okay, we came out 51.68 again. Now I bumped the unit when I was going in, and I was just looking. I have a reflection off the cup from the lighting. Sorry. I thought there was something in the cup. There isn't. This thing is really quiet compared to the other one. 51.68. If nothing else, it's a lot easier on my hands and wrists because I'm not having to do anything. With a little experience, I could probably change the settings a little bit, make it go a little faster, things like that, but I just want to see what its default capability is. 51.68. Oh, way over. 51.74. That's out of spec, so we're going to go in here. I'm just going to do what I normally do when I overthrow. Take a few granules out. Throw it back in. 5170. cup's got me a little off. I keep hitting the edge of the tray with it because it's taller than the one I'm used to. You know, this little short guy was something that went in pretty easy. So I'm learning the muscle memory to get in there. $51.68. Keep reaching in that cup, thinking I need to do something. You know, I could be sitting here putting bullets in. These are fowlers that I've put aside because they didn't meet my standards. But they'll work for what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to do some chronographing on these. That one's an overthrow, $51.74. Go ahead and throw it back. I'm just going to reach in. I like the shape of the cup for doing this because it's very easy to do. We'll see, I think I took too much out. Nope, $51.68, right on the money. And there we go. All right, guys, that's time. So we're going to call that time's up. Stop the timers. There's 2 timers in the corners of the screen. One is from the time I started the calibration, and the other one is from the time I started actually loading, because I'm not going to have to calibrate it when I throw H4350 in it again and again and again. That's not how this works. So I hope this was entertaining and helpful for you. I'm going to keep working with this. This is a great piece of equipment. I really like Adam's equipment and his products. They're just wonderful. Fair disclosure, I paid full price for this. This is not a sponsored review or anything of that nature. I felt that this was the best product on the market, so I purchased it. Cost me a little over $500 total to get it here, and I'm thinking that it's going to pay for itself in my time, because time is the one thing that I have a limited amount of and cannot replace. Hey, I'm back. You know, after this run, I actually started to realize that I should have messed with the settings before I did the video, because the default settings are set at a very safe speed that will work with many powders. Well, with H4350, we can be quite a bit more aggressive than what it was set at. So I started messing with those parameters and sped this thing up immensely. Now it is, or I should say was, 30 seconds slower than the V2 for the same number of charges. But once I started playing with the settings, it is significantly faster. The other thing to consider is what I'm doing with my hands while it's throwing a charge. Since I'm not having to scoop powder anymore and not having to monitor the machine quite so closely, I can seat bullets. Because I have been up to this point seating the bullets after I've put all the charges into the cases. Now I don't have to go to that extra step. I can seat bullets as I throw charges, and that's going to save an immense amount of time in my reloading. You know, 10 cases isn't much of a sample size, but when we start loading 100 or even 200 rounds to go to a big match, this is going to save some serious time. Just something to think about if you're looking for a powder dispenser unit. The V4 is really, really good. My little bit of experience with it suggests that this is the product to use to get the job done. Once again, I paid full price for this because I believe in Adam's products, and I think that this is the best product on the market. If you think so, you might try going to Autotrickler.com and get one for yourself. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for being patient as I fumbled through all of this powder charging, and I'll see you in the next video.